For more resources, visit rymonline.org.
The Local Youth Worker is a daily podcast that's centered on 5 questions each week. Ranging from the practical to the professional, we're looking for answers to the questions you're asking. Whether you're in full-time, part-time, or even volunteer youth ministry, this podcast is for you.
Hello everyone, this is John Parrott, and you're listening to The Local Youth Worker, a daily podcast presented by Reformed Youth Ministries. I'm joined here today by JonPaul Watson. Welcome, JonPaul.
Thanks for having me.
JonPaul, why don't you tell us just which church you're a part of, where you're from, family, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so as John said, my name is JonPaul Watson. I am an associate pastor at Christ Presbyterian Church in Winterville, North Carolina. I've been there for about 3.5 years. My main focus is on students and their families. It's been really great. We love the church and love ministering there. And I am married to Carrie Ann, and we will have been married 10 years this year. We have 4 children, 2 daughters and 2 sons, and our daughters are first and last born, and our sons are in the middle. Our oldest daughter is Lucy. She just turned 8. Judah is 6. Luke is 4, and Jane will be 2 in September. So.
Awesome. Well, I've got to tell everybody, we actually just recorded that a minute ago, but I did not have our mics plugged in. So JonPaul and I just repeated that introduction to ourselves. So we're kind of sitting here smiling as he's telling us everything he did just a minute ago that I did not record. But anyway, thanks again, JonPaul, for joining us.
You bet. I'm happy to be here.
What we're doing with JonPaul today is something we do with a lot of youth workers, asking 5 basic questions. It's interesting to hear just the varying answers of people doing the same type of job but in a different ministry context. So today we're going to start off with you asking you, what's the best thing you've done in youth ministry? This could be an event that you've planned. This could be a Bible study that you've taught. But what you got for us?
Yeah. I would say that the best thing that I've done in youth ministry is actually something that I didn't necessarily do, but it was kind of sort of I was encouraged to do this when I first got to Christ Pres, and my senior pastor, who I love dearly and love working with him, Dave Osborne's his name. He really encouraged me when I first got to Christ Pres that my job for the first 6 months that I was there was to watch, to listen, to learn, and to observe. And, you know, at the time, I'm the kind of guy that I like to get in there and I like to get going. I like to get moving. And I think Dave even knew me well enough at that point to know, on the one hand, there's going to be plenty of stuff to do. Like, there's going to be plenty of stuff to do. But just how important it is to learn the context where you're at. And I would say that those 6 months alone of doing that, and it's not like that was a hard and fast 6 months, but have served our ministry really, really well. Because I didn't go in and start making a whole bunch of decisions about stuff, but instead tried to learn the context that I was in and to live in the midst of that and listen and to watch and to observe what was going on around me in the life of our student ministry and our church and everything. And what kind of got bookended with that, coupled with that, I had the great fortune of when I came into to my call at Christ Pres, the very first weekend that I moved there, my elders, my session, sent me to RYM training. So like I'd literally been in Greenville, North Carolina for 2 days, and then I flew out to Nashville for training. And at the time, it felt like it was a really rushed thing. But in hindsight, I'm really, really thankful for that, because every year that I go back to training, it's like, this is another year of ministry that's passed, and it's sort of allows me to reflect on this past year of ministry and everything. And the things that I learned, even in that first year of RYM training, that that has just sort of served as the framework through which we think about ministry to students in our church, but not just ministry to students in our church, but our whole church in general. And so those things, those two things kind of like coupled together there have really, I feel like it's the best thing that's been done for me, frankly. I wouldn't have, that's not what I would have decided to do, but I'm so glad to have other men and women in my life that are wise and have experience and knew how good that would be for me and everything. So,
and just to let everybody know, I did not pay him to say anything about all youth ministry. But for those who are listening, Reformed Youth Ministries does put on a youth leader training annually. It's typically the last week in January in Nashville, Tennessee. There's hopes to spread that in other parts of the country, but that is a vital week. And I'm echoing what you say. Prior to coming on staff with RYM, that was a highlight of my year going to youth leader training.
Absolutely.
Getting to be around others.
Yeah,
the same type
absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that is great advice as far as context goes. I mean, we think of that when we're teaching scriptures. Context is key, but thinking of each church has its own individual culture. So yeah, that's some wise words from your pastor there.
Yeah,
that's good advice that all of us should heed, is to know that, especially those of you, if you're listening and you're headed to a new church, just be aware of the context you're going into. That's good advice for all of us. So anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just thinking about what you're just saying, like it's okay to slow down, and actually it serves us well, I feel like, to slow down, because it's then that we really kind of start reflecting on the things that are around us. It's really easy in the culture that we live in to just go, 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 go. And that's both, external put upon us, but it's also just our tendency as well, too, is to do that. And so slowing down, I think, has just been a huge, a great benefit to me. And what I would encourage, or even our interns at our church, I encourage them, like, slow down. It's okay. So that'd be the only other thing I would add.
That's good advice. And kind of getting practical on that. Excuse me. When you tell your interns to slow down, is that you tell them, hey, make sure you're getting your days off, pull back from students, go have some time to read a little bit more? What practical things do you do to kind of encourage them?
So most of my interns and youth leaders that I'm working with, they're in college. So they're college age students. They got a busy schedule with their classes and everything and all of that. They're also helping out with our youth ministry, and I really use that in the context of really trying to push them to just sort of reflect on everything that God's doing in their lives, because God is using everything in our lives, and I think it's so easy to just keep plowing and plugging away and not slow down and reflect and think, okay, how is God using this in my life right now? And so it's really kind of in that context of that encouragement kind of comes to, be still. That's good. It's good for you. Everything in our culture says you don't need rest. You need to go, 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 go. God says, be still and know that I'm God, which requires us to stop, requires us to slow down. And so really trying to, because they're not that far removed from the students that they're working with. And so it's, they're saying things that they struggle with, they're just a couple of years ahead of that. And they're still struggling with those same things of, like, how do I bring balance in my life? And, how do I rest? Like, it seems God's word is pretty big on us resting in Him. What does that look like? So
yeah, I think, again, that's huge. We need to constantly hear that message of rest and slow down, because, like you said, we're in a culture that's just about results, about productivity, about go 24/7, this, that, and the other. So to be reminded, hey, we're not keeping God's kingdom going. He's the one enthroned, and He's in control. So those are good words of wisdom for sure. Well, thanks, JonPaul.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me.